Yes, good morning, gentlemen of the jury. Yes, it's nice to see you again. Guys, today our topic is going to be very simple. We'll be talking about the risk assessment metrics, and then we'll talk about the safe work procedures. So it all derives from a risk assessment. So today, the topic is risk assessment metrics. All right. What is risk assessment metric? So a metric is a method that we use to assess the risk. For us to get whether the risk is high, medium, low, or very high, we need to use a certain metrics. So no risk assessment will ever make sense without a metrics. So when someone says, please send me the risk assessment, then you must also send in a risk assessment matrix so that you can understand those numbers that are found there. If 9 means high or means low, if 25 means high or means low. Because some people will use a risk assessment that starts from 10, say up to 200 in terms of scoring. So there you'll be finding something like 450 as a risk scoring. Now you don't know whether the 450 means high or means low. So it's very important that you understand how do you come about with the numbers, with the ratings. So that's what we'll be talking about today, is the ratings. Firstly, let's talk about what is the risk rating. What is the formula for the risk rating? So the formula will say risk rating is equal to its probability times severity. Or we can say it's likelihood times severity. So probability and likelihood is the same thing. So it's likelihood times severity. So it's likelihood times severity. So if you want to know the risk rating, whether it's low, high, medium, or what, you're gonna have to multiply the likelihood and the severity. So by multiplying the likelihood and the severity, let's look at the likelihood. What figures do we have from the likelihood? So figures will have 1 up to 5. So this is the scoring for likelihood is 1 up to 5. So likelihood scoring is 1 up to what's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 up to 5. So what does 1 mean? So 1 will mean rare. It doesn't happen often. It rarely happens. Maybe it happens after 5 years, once in 5 years, so it's rare. That's why we put 1. And then, so may occur in exceptional circumstances. Then unlike 2 is unlikely. Unlikely. So it's unlikely to happen, which actually means could occur at some time, but not expected. It's not expected. Then 3 will have possible. When you put 3 as possible, we are simply meaning that it might occur at some time. It's possible. And then you get your 4, which is likely. Likely. That is your number 4, which means that high might occur at some time, which it will probably occur in most circumstances. That's why we put likely. Then at number 5, we're going to have to put almost certain. Almost certain, meaning it will probably occur, expected to occur frequently. It is expected to occur frequently. So this is how we look at our likelihood, our scoring. Our scoring will be 1 to 5. 1 means rare, it will really happen. 2 means unlikely. 3 means it's possible. 4 means likely, and 5 means almost certain. So you're gonna have to know these likelihood scores, because that's what you'll be giving to all your risks that you have identified. Now let's look at the severity scores. Severity. You've got also 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So let's look at our 1. 1 being insignificant. Insignificant, meaning it's something that is so, it's like when I scratch myself like this is insignificant. It's not something that will call it a first aider to come and treat me. It's just insignificant. It's just insignificant. And then we'll have number 2 as minor. And minor will be first aid treatment only. Maybe I've got a scratch, I've got a bruise, and I've got some blood coming out. They wipe me, they put some first aid. But a first aider can treat me. So that will be, that severity is minor. Goes to number 3, which is moderate. Number 3 is moderate. What does moderate mean? It's a medical treatment required short-term absence. So it means he has to go get another assistant from now, not from the first aider, from above. So we're going to hospital, but not for long. Say for 2 days of work or 1 day of work, but it's coming back tomorrow. That we will score it as moderate, and we'll score it at number 3. Then 4 is major, serious injury, long-term absence. Now this one is major, serious injury, long-term absence. So this means the guy was seriously injured and he's not going to be at work for 3 weeks or so. That is very long. So we're gonna put that as a major. Number 5 is catastrophic, fatality or permanent disability. Catastrophic. Here, person is dead or is likely to be disabled. Maybe he lost his limb. He's not going to have this leg forever after this incident. So this risk is called catastrophic. So now you don't want to come here and do your own things. Now, you say someone got injured, slipped and fall, and then you say it's catastrophic. Have you ever had someone slip and fell and it's catastrophic, is dead, or has lost his limb, or is permanently disabled? No. So it's very important you know how to score this. So now let's look at our risk rating score. Our risk rate, we can say from 0 to 4. So from 0 to 4, if you're getting, or from 1 to 4, we can say that the risk is low. It's acceptable risk, maintain control measures. It's a low. If you get a score 1 to 4, that risk is low. It is acceptable. It's meaning you just control that, continue with what you have, it's fine. Whatever that you put in place is okay. But if now from 5 to 9, 5 to 9, that's medium. 5 to 9 is medium, which means monitor and improve control where possible. You monitor and improve. Meaning whatever that you have, don't be satisfied with what you have in place. But you can always monitor this, but if there is a room for improvement, then you can act. I'll show you where we put these kind of things. And then with 10 to 16, that is very high. 10 to 16, we call that high. So what is it that you do if it's high? Immediate action required to reduce this risk. You have to do something immediately. So whenever you're doing your risk assessment and you find that your risk is up 10 and above, you've got to do something. You can't just say, hey, it is 16 and leave it like that. No. Immediate action. Immediate action required. Then you go now from 17 to 25. From 17 to 25, that is very high. Extreme, we call it extreme. Extreme. What action do we do there? We stop work immediately. Adequate control and implemented, must be implemented. Stop work. So, this is how the risk assessor will look into the risk assessment. First thing, you look at it likelihood times severity. Is that you to score each and every risk according to rare up to almost certain, and then score is severity from insignificant up to catastrophic. And that is risk rating will go as 1 to 4, 5 to 9 as medium, 10 to 16 as high, 17. So you don't just put any number that you wish like. It must correspond so that you will know what to do. For instance, if you put possible times moderate, those two risks, it would end up to God, you will get 9. 9, which is a medium risk. So you can't put 4 and 5, which will make 20, and then say it's a low risk. Once it's 20, you stop work. So you have to be able to give the right risk rating according to them. So these things, they help us to understand the risk assessment. So let's say, for instance, now you get a risk which is 9, 3 by 3 is 9. So that risk, now, where do we go now? You go back to our risk assessment. You go to your 9, you put your 9 here. Now, it will tell you have to put now what you call control measures. Now, what is it that you have in place? So you look at what you have in place and then you say, I need to do something better to better this risk. Where do we go about? You go to additional control measures. Because remember, we already have control measures in place, but now when I'm analyzing this, it's giving me 9, which is medium. So I look at additional, what additional can I add in order for this risk to be okay? So now you look at where the additional control, from 9 upward, all those risks, you look at additional control. What is it that I can add so that my risk can be reducible into an acceptable level? Yes. So now, guys, risk assessment and the risk matrix, risk assessment matrix, it takes us where? Let's make an example. From 5 to 9 is medium risk. What else can you do to make this thing much lower? You can introduce what you call safe work procedures. We've trained people into doing this work. This is the first thing that you start on. After the risk is low, it's acceptable, it's fine. After this, if it becomes medium, then we look at getting what you call safe operating procedure or safe work instruction, which will now guide you. In order for you to do this certain kind of a job, you need someone to be trained in 1, 2, and 3, so that we can reduce the risk from medium to low. So after calculating the risk and it gives me 9, now I put in safe work procedure, I go and train this person. Say for instance, let's go back to the example we had yesterday about cooking, being banned by the cooking oil. So if I take this person to training, chef's training course, now we understand how to treat the hot oil and everything. Now there are more chances of this guy who will never get banned now, because now we understand. So now it will reduce my risk. So now I'll go and put it and implement that control measure only to find out that risk goes back to low, from medium to low, because I've introduced. So it's very important to introduce what you call safe work procedure. Safe work procedure is a training. That is a training. You are training that particular person that will be conducting that job to do it safely in order to reduce what you call the risk. So the next topic we'll be going on forward will be safe work procedures. How do we implement safe work procedures? Also, from 5 to 9, if you implement safe work procedures, you can't leave them now on 10 and 16, 17 and 20. So we start introducing them from the medium risk all up to the extreme risk. So every risk from here going down, they must have what we call someone who's trained to do the job. The safe work procedures is developed from these. So now I'm telling you, next time we'll be going on doing now the safe operating example of how to do a safe work procedure. Thank you.